As crazy as things can get, every week we assess what we have, and every week we look at options to add to our surplus, to add to our stockpile, to add to our preps. Well, this week, for our prepping pantry and for our stockpiles, we added 5 things we bought this week. Now, things that we already had, but we felt like this was a good time to purchase these again. Now, let's go through this list of 5 things that we bought this week and things that you should buy this week, and we'll tell you why we bought these 5 specific things. Some food, some not. Let's jump into this list, and I think you're gonna see why we bought it, the reason we bought it, and how it can affect you and how you should purchase it too. Let's jump into this video. It's gonna be a good one. It starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so much for being here. It is a beautiful day here in South Mississippi, so I'm not complaining. I'm actually enjoying the warmth. We have a little storm coming in, so I hope we can get a little rain off of it because all our gardens are planted. Our goal as preppers and sustainable homesteaders is let's get busy, let's do as much as we can, plant as much as we can, so we can prepare for what is to come with more food issues, more food crisis, and having some shortages that we may have. One good thing is we try to purchase things that we can't grow if we can't grow them. Also, some things are not food, and so we prepare and we buy each and every week. So let's jump into the list of 5 things we bought just this week and the reasons we bought them and how I believe you need to buy them as well. Number 1 is not a food item, but it is something that is becoming more and more and more expensive. Now, we've seen an ebb and flow, but it's gonna be gasoline. We filled up every tank we had. We also have some portable tanks, we have some permanent tanks, and we topped off every can, every jug, every car, everything just this week. Now that is a practice that we pretty much do on a weekly basis. However, when we come to our big tanks, we tend to do that more monthly. But this is why we topped off all our gas this week and really went overboard by buying 2 more tanks. Why did we do that? Well, this week we heard that OPEC is cutting production a little bit more. Also, we heard that OPEC and those countries such as Saudi Arabia and all those oil-rich countries are maneuvering towards the BRICS nations. It tends to be that we have kind of lost our luster to being very important to a lot of the world. That's not a good thing. So we're gonna see our fuel go up. That price is going to skyrocket. I know in my town, we saw a little fluctuation of 8 to 10 cents just overnight. Nothing changed other than speculation and the news cycle. So I would challenge you this week, you need to be buying and topping off all your gas cans. Keep your cars on full. This is one thing that we need to practice and make sure we always have enough fuel on hand, because I think we're gonna see higher prices. We also had some friends that traveled west and they had gas at $5 and $6 again. So we need to be ready because there's a vice, there's a push against fuel, and now we're seeing that the production across the world is going to be manipulated even more. So number 1 would be stockpiling gas, making sure you have enough. The fact that gas will cost more will make all foods, all other items more expensive. So stockpile gas is number 1. That's something we purchased just this week. Number 2, what else did we buy this week? Well, just this week, we purchased liquor. Now, before you jump on me about this, I actually do not drink. We've talked about this in other videos. I've actually made 2 videos that's more devoted to liquor and the uses of liquor. Right now, in this time, this season, when it comes to our gardens, this is when we really kick them off. Well, one of the things we grow a lot of is herbs. We believe in herbs, we believe in foraging. We start seeing a lot more of our herbs start growing and start producing. Well, for us, again, we look at everything in a sustainable way. We want to make our own tinctures. We want to make our own medicines. So we believe that facet, and we believe if we can do it more natural and we do it more based in some of the ways that people did it in the olden days, then we believe that we're actually going to be more healthy. Also, we see there is some medicine shortages going on across the world. It's been going on for a while, but our medicines are not made locally anymore. They're made in China. Well, the more BRICS, the more that we have polarizations with maybe the spy balloon or with the wars, you're going to see more problems with medicine. So we believe in building herbal remedies, herbal tinctures, building a true natural medicine. Well, liquor is a big part of that. So we purchase things like vodka and Everclear that has a high volume, high proof levels to be able to utilize in our herbal remedies and herbal tinctures. So even though we had a stockpile of gas, even though we had a stockpile of liquor, we went on and purchased more of those because we know that gas, even though it does go bad if you leave it for a long time, we know we're going to be rotating, we're getting a better price on it. Secondly, with liquor, we know it never goes bad. It is a good stable prepping item to have and to be able to utilize for your natural medicines. Now, we're not going to talk about the fact that you can barter with it. We're not going to talk about the fact that it is a vice for a lot of people, so it allows you to manipulate it a little bit on your own aspect of life, especially if you have kind of a crap hits the fan situation. The main reason we purchased it is for our tinctures, for herbal medicine, and making sure we have that as a backbone to make sure we're safe in anything that we can get, any kind of situation that we have. The more we forage, the more we learn about our herbs, the more we can provide those natural medicines for ourselves. Number 3, another thing we purchased just this week, even though we have a seed vault, even though we have planted mostly all our gardens, we bought more seed just this week. It is garden season, growing season. But you know what? Even though we provide a lot of our own seeds from last year and year over year, we are always buying seed. If we think we can't grow it, or we want to learn a new element of growing, or we want to tackle a new project, Misty has been all over learning more about ashwagandha, learning more about hops, learning more about some of these herbs like we were talking about, learning more about flowers, learning more of how we can utilize these seeds, not just to plant and grow and eat and be done with it, but not only for the food aspect, but again for the medicine. So we have picked up a lot of extra seeds. Our goal is to pick up heirloom seeds, so we bought some from Survival Seeds, in which there's a link below. We bought some from Hall's Tools. We love Lady Cream Peas, and Hall's Tools has the best variety of that. We also needed a few more of those herbs like we talked about, so we picked those up along the way as well. So this week you need to buy seeds. You don't realize how valuable seeds can be when it comes to your commodities, your foods, also a bartering tool, and a way that you can provide for your family. And you may not can grow everything that you buy seed for, but it is a way that you can provide sustenance and food and energy maybe for a later time. Buy some things, stock up on some things. Even if it's winter and cool grow, and right now we're in kind of the dead of summer and the hotness, that's okay. Buy it, and that way you'll be ready for fall. I don't think you realize how valuable seeds can be. So this week, purchase some seeds. Number 4, these two I want you to really focus on, and I'm being serious because these two things we bought a pretty good bit this week. But number 4 would be ammo, brass. We believe in making sure we have enough. What we have seen is a push against self-defense. We've seen some major tragedies this last week. Anytime things like this happen and tragedy happens, we see more volatility, we see more control elements going on and being spoke about by our politicians. So I'm purchasing cases just this week. This is something I believe you've got to have if you want to be a homesteader, but also someone who prepares and preps, wants to be able to survive in any situation. It's just the honest truth. During crisis and chaos, sometimes food is the best. Sometimes water and shelter is the best. Sometimes defense is the best and security is the best. So make sure, number 4, I purchased a good bit of brass. I made sure that I got the ones that I wanted to focus on the most, the ones that tend to be pushed against the most by our government. That's the ones I picked up the most. And I got a pretty good deal because guess what? I bought in bulk, I bought in gross, and I've learned to barter and trade with certain people. So it allowed us to make some trades, make some barters, and get some deals done. Number 4, brass. That's a precious metal that you need to purchase this week. Number 5, now this is a big purchase, so I'm telling you, you got to do what you can. I understand everyone can't do this, and I can't do it a lot, but just this week I did make a purchase of more precious metals. Now why did I do that, and why do I think it's important to do? Well, the more I heard about the news with BRICS, the more that I hear that we're having more chaos with our markets, the volatility, and the fact that our government is assuring and reassuring and assuring and reassuring that all these banks are going to be okay and that the economy's great. Well, I don't really believe everything I hear. So when I see those things and I use wisdom to say, you know what, we can't keep doing this to our dollar. We can't keep seeing the BRICS countries maneuvering and more countries joining. We can't tend to see that be good for our dollar. So this week I made a purchase with precious metals. I bought some gold and I bought some silver. I bought it through Genesis Gold. I called the same number that I've got in the link below. I talked to a gentleman named David, and guess what? I bought some gold and it's on the way. Now, the reason I tell you these 5 things, I tend to not tell you everything when it comes to this YouTube channel, because as a prepper, there's some things I just don't disclose. But I want you to understand these 5 things, from gas, from liquor, from seeds, precious metals, and also another form of precious metals such as brass. Those things we bought just this week because we see how important it is because of the narratives and because of what's being talked about just this week in the news. So I want you to see value in these things. Sometimes when we glaze over and we hear all these stories, we tend to not think much about it, and we're so busy in America and we're so busy in our own personal lives that we just kind of say, you know what, it's all going to work out, it's going to be okay. And it could be, and I hope it is. But there's nothing wrong with having the assurance of an insurance. And what I mean by that is the reason we prep, the reason we build these pantries, the reason that we stockpile is so when things happen, that worry doesn't really come across to us as much. Anytime a situation happens, if it's lockdowns, if it's chaos, if it's failures, it's going to cause us stress and worry. But when you have things put up, it tends to make it a little bit more tolerable. So these are the 5 things I purchased this week. I have these already. All I'm doing is adding to. Please do the same thing. If you find some weakness in some of your pantry, you find some weakness in some of your food, you find some weakness in some of the items that I talked about, you need to look at those items and say, okay, it's time to purchase this week. Don't think you can do it next week or the next week. We tend to procrastinate. Don't procrastinate. 5 things that you should purchase this week. It's what I purchased this week. I challenge you to do it. As we wrap this video up, it is fixing to start raining. It's actually starting to sprinkle now. I want you to understand that as we end all videos, the best prep you can do, of course, is spiritual prepping, making sure you're taking care of your family, teaching them guidance, and understanding wisdom comes from Christ more than all. And I want you to understand that the reason we prep, the reason we try to do the things that we do want to be good stewards with what God's given us. And one of those things is our family. The only way that I can take care of my family is if I start using my common sense and start putting some stuff up. Because as Joseph did in the time of Egypt, he had 7 good years and he stockpiled because he knew there were 7 bad years coming. Now, does that mean 7 bad years are coming? Maybe not. But we have seen in our history, and we have seen across the world, there are food shortages. There's going to be more food crisis. With fuel going up, it's going to cause more strains. We do have wars across the world, and you never know what may happen right here in America. So more than anything, spiritually prep and look at these 5 items, and hopefully you can start prepping more, taking care of your family, getting a little bit more peace every day, every week that you add to. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're new to the Max, please go down here and press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. It does help us stay in the algorithm. Our goal is to encourage you. It's not about fear. It's not about worry and stress. Those things will come because of what the world shows us and what we deal with each and every day in America. So I want to help you have hope and understand if we prep, we live a sustainable life, we understand wisdom, it's going to make it a lot easier. God bless, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Happy homesteading.